Hello everyone, my name is Landon and welcome back to another video. Today, I'm going to be going over my top 5 favorite sci-fi fantasy series. Now, that consists of anything that has to do with like science fiction, like aliens in space, or like in the past medieval times with like dragons and stuff. I say that because one of my books on this list has dragons and stuff. That's all science fiction, that's all fantasy. Science fiction and fantasy go hand in hand. So, I'm going to be going over my top favorite. And starting at the number 5 spot, we have Alien. Alien was originally a 1979 horror film directed by Ridley Scott. It is my third favorite movie of all time. And Alan Dean Foster did 4 of the 5 Alien movie novelizations. He did every single one of them except for Alien Resurrection. Somebody else went for Alien Resurrection. He stopped after Alien 3. I can't remember who did Alien Resurrection, and I'm too bored to look. Actually, I could probably, it's right here. Let's pull it out. A.C. Crispin did Alien Resurrection, not Alan Dean Foster. Alien is about, the whole series in a whole is about xenomorphs. What xenomorphs are an alien-type creature that have very long heads, 2 jaws, one for extending and attacking their enemies, and then the other for, eating and such. They have an armored exoskeleton, poisonous blood, acid for blood. The blood in the movie seeps through the ship. It starts going through the ship. They have a spiky tail, it's like a pointer as a tail, and it's like metal, basically. They're dangerous. They're nothing to be messing around with. And these things are the conflict of the entire series. And what the first Alien is about is a group of 7 people aboard a spaceship who are coming back from a mission. They are on the ship known as the Nostromo. And when they get a distress signal from a planet that they're passing by, they stop, check it out, and one of them gets attacked by things known as face huggers. It attaches to his face, they bring him back on board, and it plants an egg inside of his chest. The alien gets born, and then the horror begins. And it's a terrific sci-fi horror novel series in a whole. There's a lot of good action in the second one and in Alien Covenant. Alien 3 is more of a horror. Alien Resurrection has freaking Ron Perlman. Freaking Ron Perlman's in the Alien Resurrection. And all around a really great, fun read too. These books aren't that long. They're really fun to read. At the number 4 spot, we have Game of Thrones, or A Song of Ice and Fire. That's the name of the series. Game of Thrones takes place back, like I said, in the medieval days, and it's about families fighting for power. That's basically the entirety of the show and the entirety of the books. Religion plays a much heavier role in the books than it does in the show, but it's not really the big point. The big picture of the entire books is families fighting for power. It's like 3 or 4 families, and they're all fighting for the Iron Throne, it's called. They're all fighting for the same power, and they're all rising above each other and falling below each other, and it's just this constant battle for power. And that's the entirety of the series, and it's just really fun to read, especially later on when the Targaryens begin to get the dragons, and it's such a fun read. All these books are. They are very long. These span to 1,000 pages. This one gets up to 900. Some of the later ones get up to 1,000, 1,100. But they're all worth it. It's a great series. It's a great waste of your time. If you're looking to waste some of your time and you want something to read, these are very long books, and you'll plow through them really quickly. You will sit down and read the entirety of the book. You'll read this entire thing. It was such a blast to read, and I encourage you all to read it. At the number 3 spot, we have Hyperion by Dan Simmons. Hyperion is about... It's a future society, or dystopia. Not really dystopia, but it's about a group of people searching for something known as the Shrike. It's basically, he's the keeper of time and space. And he's very powerful, and everybody who's encountered him, I believe, hasn't lived to tell the tale. I'm a little shady on the facts because I haven't read it in a while. But it's about these 7 pilgrims and their tale and how their like journey to get to the Shrike. And later on, the Shrike, not Shrek, Shrike takes a bigger role in the later books. This is Hyperion. The book after this is The Fall of Hyperion. And then after that, it's Endymion and the Rise of Endymion. And the Shrike takes a much bigger role in those books. And it's a great science fiction journey. And they aren't super long books. They're very small. This is just, I can wrap my fingers around it. And Dan Simmons does amazing work with all of his books, like The Terror, even The Abominable. Like, he, like, goes into such great detail about everything, and it's to the perfect extent in these books, and the science fiction element of this is very, very fun and very exciting to read. At the number 2 spot, we have All Things Lead to the End by Edward Loren. Now, there is one book to be read in this series that hasn't been released yet, but everything leading up to it, it deserves the number 2 spot. Edward Loren's ability to create characters and have you really feel pain for all of the characters, even the bad characters. You feel for all of them when they die, when something bad happens to them, or even when something good happens to them. And it's just, all of these books have that. They have that amazing feel to them. You feel so much when you're reading these books. And the science fiction and the fantasy, I'm stumbling on my words. The concepts that begin to start adding up, like in Sound of Broken Ribs, Betting of Boys, and Everything is Horrible Now. The science fiction really starts to show, and it comes at you at full speed. Like, it just hits you hard, and it's the best feeling ever. The first book, Bay's End, has no sci-fi or fantasy element at all, but the later books, Fog Warning, Sound of Broken Ribs, Betting of Boys, Everything is Horrible Now, and to be released, No Home for Boys, everything is just insane. And it's such a fun journey that all of you guys, if you guys are a fan of my channel, you guys have definitely heard me talk about Edward Loren. I encourage you guys to start reading this series. It's a fun ride, and you won't regret it. At the number 1 spot, it's no surprise, it's The Dark Tower by Stephen King. His 7-book series about the Dark Tower, the gunslinger, the man in black, and all the characters that begin to form is just incredible. In short, The Dark Tower is about one man's journey to find the Dark Tower, because if it is destroyed, it would mean the end of the world. And the gunslinger, or Roland, is an amazing character, the man in black, or Randall Flagg. He is my favorite villain in any book ever. Like, in book history, of all the books that I read, Randall Flagg is my favorite antagonist in any book. I'll do a video later on my favorite Stephen King antagonist. He'll definitely be the number 1 spot. And the 7 books leading up to the ending is either going to disappoint you, or you are actually going to like it. It's like, you won't know what to think about it at first. But everything, the entire series as a whole, is just so worth it. Even the bad parts, the good parts, the bad parts, it's all worth it. The Dark Tower is an amazing series, and I encourage you guys all to read it. If you guys enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe, hit the bell icon if you're new. Let me know your top 5 favorite sci-fi fantasy series in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.